welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Shivani Singh. There has been a dramatic political upheaval in Bulgaria, where the government has just resigned after sustained nationwide protests. But unlike the past demonstrations, this movement has been strongly driven by young people, particularly Generation Z. These people are actually demanding accountability, economic fairness, and an end to corruption in the country. Prime Minister Rosen Zhelyazkov, who took office earlier this year, announced the resignation of his government on December the 10th, just weeks before Bulgaria is all set to adopt the euro on January 1st, 2026, following mass protests that actually brought hundreds of thousands into the streets. Now, the unrest began in early December, when the government unveiled a 2026 draft budget plan. Young Bulgarians were among the first to protest. They argued that the plan contained tax hikes, increased social security contributions, and spending priorities that seemed to favor the entrenched interests rather than ordinary citizens. Now, the finance plan, the first drafted in euros ahead of the Bulgaria's planned entry into the Eurozone on January 1st, 2026, was later withdrawn, but that did little to satisfy demonstrators, who saw it as an emblematic of perceived political arrogance and corruption. Initially focused on fiscal policy, the demonstrations quickly expanded into a broader anti-corruption movement. The protesters accused the government of serving interests of powerful political and business figures, including oligarch-linked MP Dylan Pivsky, who has been sanctioned by both the United States and the United Kingdom for alleged corruption. What's remarkable is how young people took the lead. Students and social media savvy Generation Z used TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms to coordinate rallies, amplify their message, and also draw international attention to their cause. In Sofia's central square, where what began as a protest against a budget proposal has turned into one of the largest civic movements in Bulgaria's post-communist history. Now, these gatherings, with an attendance estimated at over 1 lakh in the capital alone, are unprecedented. So why does this matter? This marks a significant shift in Bulgarian politics, where youth voices have brought about tangible change. While Bulgaria has seen protests before, driven by economic issues or political scandals, few have been as broadly participatory and led by Generation Z. In many cases, young Bulgarians have framed their participation not just as opposition to a single policy, but as a stand against decades of entrenched political influence and corruption. The Prime Minister of the country announced the resignation in a televised address, saying that the government must reflect the will of the people, even if the will was expressed most clearly on the streets. Now, his resignation just came before Parliament has scheduled to vote on yet another no confidence motion, the sixth the government has faced. This is a sign of how tenuous his coalition had become amid sustained public pressure. Political instability has been a recurring theme in Bulgaria, which has already held 7 national elections over the past 4 years. Now, President Rumen Radley will actually attempt to form a new government. But if that fails, an interim administration may take over ahead of the fresh elections, which would be the 8th in 4 years. But there is an economic impact as well. All of this is unfolding just weeks before Bulgaria is scheduled to join the Eurozone. And despite the government's resignation, officials have said that the transition to the euro on January the 1st, 2026 is expected to go ahead as planned, though public skepticism over economic management remains high. The budget maneuver has already been very historic in itself for Bulgaria, and the Prime Minister's executive was about to adopt a euro law for the first time. Sofia will in fact adopt the single currency as of 1st January 2026, and the choice has never excited the population, with many Bulgarians believing that adopting the euro would actually raise the prices, further improvising citizens' pockets. The introduction, if mishandled, could in fact cause significant disruptions to the Bulgarian economy, which has the lowest GDP per capita in the Union. Now, the resignation comes at a very critical moment, with concerns about the country's economic future, its transition to the euro, and questions about whether this wave of civic activism will translate into deeper political reform. Corruption in the Balkan nation of some 6.5 million has long been pervasive, even before having joined the EU in 2007. Consistently ranked as one of the most corrupt member states in the bloc by Transparency International, Bulgaria has failed to secure high-level convictions for graft in recent years, fueling public anger and drawing repeated criticism from Brussels over its record on rule of law. We'll continue to follow how Bulgaria actually navigates this turbulent period, from the streets of Sofia to the halls of power, and what it actually means for Europe's youngest generation of political actors. Thank you for watching.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.